we will also be sharing with you a folder link where you can submit your 1-minute video. Yes. Post this session with Dr. Debjani, and you may get a chance to have a face-to-face feedback from Dr. Debjani at the start of this session when you come at the campus. So wait for that. Don't leave it immediately at the end. And all your question and answers you can post in Q&A box. Yeah, I think Divyanshu will take the questions once we are through with the session. Dr.
Okay.
Debjani, you may please start. Yes.
So hello again, all of you. I'm so glad that you're all able to join in before actually turning up on campus. And it's a nice intro to the experience that awaits you in UPS when you're actually here. So this is actually a very innovative endeavor that has been started by UPS, to kind of gently acquaint you guys with with the courses in UPS and how we teach, and the general academic environment that you'll be coming into. I teach business communication at the school, so that's my area, and I'm going to actually talk about this area in this session. So as you all know that we're going to talk about digital storytelling today, storytelling in the digital age. And I mean, it is a much more, it's a session that can go on and on. It requires that much time and effort and involvement. But for the sake of time, we have to kind of condense it into like a 1-hour session. And when you're on campus, we'll probably extend it, and our 2 business comm courses have lots of digital storytelling elements in it for you to kind of, really get your hands into it and understand the intricacies and nuances of, storytelling in the digital age in the business context for the purposes of your, of your own business interests. So let me get the digital part out of the way, because storytelling is universal. So let me get the digital part out of the way. What is digital storytelling? You all know what is storytelling, but what is digital storytelling? To put it very simply, digital storytelling is the practice of using computer-based tools, to tell stories or present your ideas. So, so digital stories are essentially multimedia presentations, which involves a variety of digital elements within a narrative structure. So in a digital story, you have images, you have text, you have audio, you have video. You also have interactive elements like maps, and you also have, or you can have social media elements like tweets, etc. And the tools that you need for digital storytelling are a computer with multimedia capabilities and ample storage. You need image recording devices like a camera. A smartphone is also acceptable, a camcorder or a scanner. You need audio capture devices like a microphone or a voice recorder. And you also need editing software, to edit your images and your video. So that's the basics, okay? That's the basics of digital storytelling. I would like to actually share my screen with you. Let me see. Okay, I may want to maximize my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Yeah. Amit, can you see my screen? Okay. Okay, cool.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, as I said, that just wanted to get the digital bit out of the way to get into the more important part of storytelling, because that's what you would need to actually know and understand before we actually get into the business of understanding digital storytelling. Digital storytelling, the digital part of it is fairly easy. I wouldn't say the storytelling part is hard, but once you get your foundational basics right, once you get the conceptual part of what storytelling actually is, then the digital part is not that difficult. But so we actually talked about what is digital storytelling. And now I just want to give you a very brief idea of what is a digital story and what is required to create a digital story and how do you actually go about creating a digital story. Okay. So what is the first step? What is the first step to creating a digital story? You need to have an idea, right? You need to, can you see the full screen? Because in my thing, it's not able to properly see if you can see my full screen. But anyway, so you need an idea or a concept, okay? So at the beginning, you need an idea. What are you going to create? So you need that idea. You need that concept, okay? Step 2 is you have to explore, extend that idea. So to extend that idea, you need to research about that idea. You need to learn more about that idea, explore that idea, okay? So basically, you're putting in more meat into your idea. You're learning more about your idea. When the idea simply starts, it's just a very minimal thing. You can't really do much with it. So after you research, you get more information. So now you know more about the concept, the idea that you want to, explore or extend. So when you have that content, you write a script. So basically, when you're talking about digital storytelling in the business context, we're talking about creating, in this session, I'm specifically talking about creating video content, of course. So when I talked about digital storytelling, so digital storytelling also involves multimedia presentations, and multimedia presentations involves PowerPoint presentations also. But I'm not going to talk about PowerPoint presentations because that has its own do's and don'ts, but it follows like the general rules of what I'm going to talk about. Now, for the sake of this session, I'm going to talk about a video content. Okay, so you have an idea. And then in step 2, you research and you extend that idea. In step 3, you write a script, a small script. So if it's a 3-minute film that you're making, so you need 3 pages. Okay, that's the general golden rule of thumb. Okay. And step 4, you storyboard or you plan. If you're not that great with, images or drawing, it doesn't, storyboard doesn't mean that you do great drawings. It's just like every shot should be like planned. Every shot, you have a visual reference for every shot that you're going to take. That's step 4. Step 5, you go out and gather your images or video. Okay. You gather or create audio. Okay. So you gather everything that you need to create that that video. Okay, so you gather your images, your video, and your audio. In step 6, you put it all together, which means you edit it together. You put it in an editing software and you put it all together. You edit images, video, and audio together. Okay, and in step 7, you just share it with the world. That's how it goes. You share it in social media platforms, or you make a presentation of your video when you're pitching your idea, or during a product pitch, or during a presentation anywhere. That's how you share it. And in step 8, of course, you kind of get your feedback from whoever's your audience, whoever's watching it. So that's the general process of a digital storytelling the idea. So basically, I generally got the digital part of it out of the way, because in a 1-hour session, if I go too much into digital, we will not be able to talk about the actual storytelling, which is what we are here to actually focus on today. So we are going to come back to it again, don't worry. And when you're on campus, we are going to delve deep into it and give you ample opportunities to kind of make your own stories. So let's start with actually talking about or thinking about what a story is. When you're talking about storytelling in a digital age is all fine. We are all living in a digital age right now with multimedia tools at our disposal. You have a very powerful tool in your hands, your smartphone, whether you're using an iPhone or any other smartphone, which has a camera or an audio recorder, and lots of, and even in editing software, So you have everything at your disposal in just this one small tool. So you have everything that you need. But what are you going to do with that? When you're going to tell a story, what are you going to do? What story are you going to tell? So the reason I'm asking you these open-ended questions is to make you think about what a story actually is. What is a story? I mean, we use the word story very, very casually, and we throw it about. And you might not be wrong in thinking what a story is, but to actually define what a story is, it's it makes you think. So a story, if you just have to put it down to bare basics, what is a story? A story is about people and situations. Okay? It's about people and situations. And in the simplest form, a story is about a character and what happens to that person, where we explore the desires, the dilemmas, the choices that that character makes. That is a story, right? It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It also creates a shared emotion. When you share a story, it creates a shared emotional experience that binds us together. Okay, so, and stories have been with us since time immemorial. Different kinds of stories. Cavemen wrote stories in the form of pictures in their walls. Then you have the Greek and Roman myths. We have the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. We have Kalidasa in India. We have Shakespeare. We have the Victorian novelists. With the birth of cinema, we have silent cinema. With the coming of sound, we have the talkies. You have Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Hotstar, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. So stories are not just in novels or movies or entertainment. They are everywhere. It's all around you. It's from the boardroom in the business context to social media, to the big screen, when you buy a 500 rupee ticket and go to watch a movie. They are all stories. Stories are everywhere. So the billions and billions of stories all around you, and all stories matter. Okay, so they are one of the most powerful forces to connect, to influence, and to persuade mindsets, beliefs, and behavior. So it makes you memorable. When you tell a good story, it makes people remember the stories, and people also remember the person who's telling the story, the storyteller. Okay. It is one of the most powerful forces on the planet, as I said, to connect, influence, and persuade mindsets, beliefs, and behavior. So it becomes one of the most powerful tools to, in the context of marketing and leadership. It is the most powerful tool ever. So in a world which is so cluttered with so many stories all around you, and mind you, most of them are just very, very forgettable. So how do you make your story stand out? So an environment which is flooded with stories of all kinds, most of it very forgettable and lackluster, how do you stand out? How do you make your story count? How do you make your story unforgettable? How do you use your story to persuade and influence people? How do you use your story to kind of get your message across so that people use your service or buy your product or listen to you or think you have something of value to offer? How do you do that? Is it possible for you to kind of type in your chat box so that I can see some of the answers? I just need you to think about it. There is no right and wrong answer. So, if you're thinking about it, it just helps you internalize it. Because how do you make your story stand out? How do you do that? Because everybody is telling a story and everybody's story is important. There's nobody's story is mine is important and that person's not important. So everybody's story has value. But then remember that as a person who's selling a product or selling a service, you need to make your story count. How do you do that? How do you make your story count? How do you make yourself unforgettable? The way to do it is to remember one word, okay? And that one word is narrative. It's a word you have heard, I'm sure, many times, but narrative differentiates a powerful, impactful story from a mediocre, average, and forgettable story. Okay? A narrative is what makes you stand out. But what is a narrative? Is narrative and story interchangeable? When you pitch your idea to a VC, when you make a boardroom presentation, when you present your yearly, quarterly reports, are you presenting a story? Are you presenting a definite narrative? The reason I'm asking you this question is because it'll make you differentiate between story and narrative. Story is this happened. Okay. Narrative is this happened because these are the circumstances that made it happen. These are the obstacles, these are the challenges. This is the way, the world functions. So this is the way I am, presenting the sequence of events. What I mean to say is a narrative is much more bigger than a story. Okay. It is how you tell the story. It is a way of looking at the world. So when we say that every story is the same, but the storyteller is different, which means even if the story is the same, because the storytellers are different, the same story will appear differently in different contexts because everybody has a different narrative. Okay. I cannot see you, so I don't know whether it's clear or not. But just to my kind of make it to give it more clarity, a narrative means that you are focusing on how you are telling the story. Okay, it is a way of presenting the story. So a narrative means that you are giving a certain meaning to your story. It's a frame of reference. Okay, it's an overarching frame of reference which influences meaning and decision making. So narrative gives a shape to your story. It's a way of looking at the world. Okay, so hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Debjani.
Actually, my slide has just frozen because it's not forwarding, not going forward. Let me just try again.
You may want to unshare and share back, Dr. Debjani.
Okay, I'll just stop share and I'll just share it again.
I can hear your voice.
Okay. Screen share again.
While you were sharing the screen, I just had a question from one of our participants that how this session is going to help. I have replied on the chat box, and we have it's also written in the mail that storytelling is one of the most important tool or effective tool, impactful tool which you can use in your organizations, in your future careers, to make your visibility, to make your brand. And also when you're presenting in your CEO's office, if there's a presentation, a storytelling will definitely make your presentation more engaging, more effective. I don't want to get or barge into your session, Dr. Devjani, but this was a question I thought I'll take this opportunity to answer. Please.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, you're absolutely bang on about this. I mean, you said it really well. I mean, the reason why I kind of harp on this, because it's very important to get the basics right in terms of what story, conceptually what story is. So once you understand the power of storytelling, that how do you actually use story to stand out in your own domain, in your own context, then it becomes more easy for you to kind of use it to influence and persuade and connect, and use this powerful tool for your own benefit and your own interest. So that's the reason why I always tell my students to kind of understand this very distinct difference, this distinction between story and narrative. Stories are dime a dozen, but a narrative is something that you use to influence people. And as the future business leaders and managers and entrepreneurs and founders, if you get this distinction right at this moment, um, and you understand the power of this tool that you have, you're never going to falter. You're always, even if you falter, you're going to pick yourself up and find a good story to kind of sell your idea. Because in this marketplace, it's the story that sells. People are looking for a story to kind of hold on to and make something of. I'm sorry, but my screen has actually I'm not able to go forward with my thing. It has just stopped. And I'll stop share again. I'll try again. I'll stop share and I'll share the screen again.
Dr. Devjani, why don't you share your PPT with me? I'll put it on the I'll share it from my end, and then you can go ahead with the narrative. In case you're finding any issues, you can just mail me your PPT also while you are taking the session.
Okay, Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen. It's on a small mode, but then if it is not getting stuck, we shall continue.
Yeah, I think I'll just
yeah,
do this because I just don't want to take a chance.
No problem.
So
no problem. Please
yeah, so I just talked about the difference between storytelling and story and narrative, and how narrative is important for you to kind of craft what you want to actually convey to your audience or your consumers or your clients. So I'm bringing in right now, very, very quickly, I'm just going into one of the basic classical concepts of storytelling so that you use it to your own ends. So accordingly, we have a 3-act structure and a 5-point narrative arc. So Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, very simply. Act 1 is the beginning, Act 2 is the middle, and Act 3 is the end. Okay, so your beginning is the setup, Act 2 is the midpoint, or where all the problems happen. Act 3 is the finale. When you put the narrative arc in Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, you have, so at the beginning, you have the beginning of the story, which happens in Act 1. And then in Act 2, you have the action, some inciting incident, something important happens, and you reach the climax, which happens in the beginning, which is the middle, which is what happens in Act 2. And in Act 3, you have the falling action, which is when the story nears the end. Okay, and you kind of come at the end of the story, which is the resolution. Okay, so there's a problem at the beginning, there is a crisis in the middle, and at the end you kind of tie it all together to kind of resolve the crisis. So that's the classical storytelling concept. So you have a problem and a solution. In innovative storytelling for a business context, you might want to flip the narrative. You might want to flip the pattern. You might want to present possibilities and then the challenges and then a resolution. Okay, so this is a slightly complicated concept, but I just want to introduce you to that this is what the classical storytelling is: beginning, middle, end. So there is a problem and then there is an end to it. In innovative storytelling for business purposes, you might follow the same pattern, or you might flip the pattern. You might talk about possibilities or the resolution in the beginning, and in the end, you can talk about the challenges. And we do this because audiences sometimes are resistant to new ideas. For example, if you are pitching for a VC, and it's a new idea, there's a lot of resistance to your product, to your service. So you might want to start off on a positive note. You might want to start off by talking about the possibilities of your product or your service, and then talk about the challenges, which is inevitable, and how you're overcoming it. Okay, so that's a storytelling that you're going to do. Okay, so that's one. So in a business context, I just want to kind of tell you why you're talking about storytelling. In a business context, we are using the power of narrative for various uses, to communicate a company's mission and values, to communicate what it stands for and what it hopes to achieve as a company. You use narrative to convey that. Okay, you use narrative to build brand identity, to create a story that that makes the brand stand apart from the other competitors in the field. It kind of builds brand recognition, instant recognition, and loyalty. That's how you use narrative in a business context. You can also use narrative to foster employee engagement, to inspire employees and, to kind of foster teamwork and commitment, for the greater good of the company. You can also use narrative to kind of, differentiate or convey the uniqueness of a product or service that a company is offering, by, storytelling in a way that conveys to the customer the uniqueness of the product, how it solves their problem, or how it meets a particular need so that the customer understands the value of the company, that is offering that service or that product. You can also use narrative to demonstrate social responsibility of the company. Create a story that conveys how the company is, giving back to the society, or how it's using its resources for environmental sustainability, and so that it kind of evokes trust and loyalty from the consumers. That is very important. So you need narrative, you need storytelling to kind of convey, these aspects of your business. It's not just for your personal presentations, or in the context of the larger business organization. It functions on storytelling, and these are the aspects of storytelling that you use to kind of convey these separate aspects of your business. Okay, so that's where strategic narratives matter. That's when strategic narratives come into play, where story is bigger, where it's not just one story. It's how you strategize story to kind of hit where you're kind of focusing on. So I will not focus too much on this at the moment. What I wanted to actually talk about is just give you examples of what is narrative. I'm having problems with video, and I hope that the YouTube plays right now. Do watch this video, and then we'll talk about, we'll actually ask questions, and I hope I get some answers in the chat box, when we actually talk about it. I just want your answers, because when I conduct sessions like this, it's an interactive session. So whatever I am talking, or whatever I'm talking about storytelling or narrative, these are examples. These are like live examples of how narrative actually functions in the real world. So you saw this video. It's a video from Nike, Japan. It's an old video. It's not very new. It's an old ad. Just do it. Please tell me. So I just want to know, like, when you think of Nike, what is the first thing that you think about?
Just to keep you updated, Dr. Debjani, we were not able to hear the sound of the video on the basis of, I don't know, on the basis of views, will students be able to give an answer of this? Okay, so Prashant is writing, just do it.
Just do
Tushar
it.
Tyagi is
Is
writing sports.
sports.
Great. So students have started responding. Thanks, Prashant.
Okay.
Thanks, Tushar. Any
Yeah.
answers?
So what is Nike selling basically? What is Nike selling?
Devbrat says brand value and trust. Prashant says sport related stuff. Sham says shoes, cloth quality. Lowell says
Sportswear.
sportswear.
So
Yeah.
Kalol, Shayan, you are actually right. They're in the business of selling sportswear, right? Shoes. Basically, you think about like shoes. But what is the grand when they place their ads, what is the grand narrative that they are actually placing before you? You've seen, so you haven't heard the sound of this ad, which is I'm really sorry about. But technology does strange things. We think it works all the time, but sometimes it does fail. But just to kind of ask you, don't limit yourself. Absolutely, don't limit. That's the grand narrative, right? Don't limit yourself. You are limitless, infinite possibilities. Nike doesn't at any point wants you to think that they're not here to tell you that buy our shoes. They're telling you something completely different. Okay? They're telling you something completely different. They are actually selling universal values. They're talking about universal values. They're talking about grit, determination. Yes. They're talking about breaking barriers, So Divyanshu, I don't think this is the right forum to ask these questions. Maybe, we can address your questions, in an appropriate time and place. But to just go back, this is the grand narrative. This is the narrative. Yes, be limitless, break all barriers. So, this is what the reason I'm telling you is that there is a reason why I harp on narrative, because Nike is actually selling you shoes, but not really talking about shoes, but talking about universal values. Okay, so this is the reason why I'm bringing this thing, so that you can differentiate between storytelling and narrative. How narrative matters in this. Okay. How many of you have actually, I'm not going to play the Tata Steel ad, but how many of you have actually heard of this ad called "We Also Make Steel"? If you've heard of it, just say yes. We also make steel. Okay, so maybe you're too young for it. But in the 90s, even early 80s, I think, Tata came out with a series of ads. Tata Steel came out with a series of ads which kind of showed, their CSR initiatives, in Jamshedpur and wherever there are the Tata Steel plants. They have, built schools, provided education, housing. They've basically, there's been a great community involvement in whatever they've done. So in their ads, in their narrative, they actually harp on that instead of saying that they are the makers of steel and that's what they are selling. But they just say that we also make steel. Okay, they also make steel becomes a kind of a byproduct of their actual in their ad. What they say is we are actually not in the business of, making steel, but we are also, these are universal values that, we are actually, interested in propagating. So I'm just talking about storytelling, in the grand scheme of things. This is a narrative that they are selling. Okay. Tata Steel, comes across as a very benevolent company with a great brand value, with something that inspires loyalty and trust. Okay, that's the narrative. That's the narrative that Tata Steel actually is selling you. By saying that we also make steel. The steel becomes like a small thing that they also do. Okay. So when you are actually talking about storytelling in the business context, so there are different aspects of it. First of all, are the presentations that you are required to do for your in your board meetings. There are the product pitches that you are supposed to do, if you're an entrepreneur or a founder, or in a various context. There are these vision statements that you're supposed to actually craft, whether for your company or as an employee, and all of it requires certain some skill in storytelling and crafting a narrative. It becomes very important to actually think about narrative in that sense. What is the larger thing that you're framing this story on? Okay, what is the larger value? What are the universal values? For example, so I just want to make it simple by actually asking you to kind of think about a self-introduction story. Okay, so let's start from the basics. So when you come to campus, I would actually like you to bring along this video of a self-introduction story that you have done. Shoot it on your phone. You don't even need to edit it, because editing is maybe, we can teach you when you're actually here. Not very intricate, advanced editing, but enough to kind of serve your purpose. But for now, in terms of storytelling, I just want to kind of focus on yourself as a self-introduction story. Think of a story which you want to tell us. Think about like a significant milestone in your life. Is that a story that kind of is important to you, that you can actually talk about? So what I would actually like you to craft when you actually come to campus, bring me a 3-minute video story of you talking about a significant milestone in your life up till now, like one incident that has shaped you, that has made you who you are up till this moment. Okay. So following the 3-step framework that I actually talked about, a beginning, middle, and end, it is a very, very clear and a very simple framework. See, these kind of sessions are generally held in a very interactive way. Okay. It's a it's where student interaction is the foundation for for this session to be more interesting and more generative and more beneficial. And since we just have access to chat, I don't know if so what I would actually like you to do, for the sake of further sessions, is to bring me a 3-minute. I mean, 3 minutes is the maximum. You can even do a 60-second or 1.5 minute story on a significant milestone in your life at this moment, which has kind of changed you, or it has a great impact on you. Okay. Amit will share a link with you. So where you can, we can shoot the story and upload it in a folder. And so when you come on campus, we can sit down and actually, give you feedback on it, and then talk about whether the story that you are telling has a definite narrative or it doesn't, or how can you make it a better narrative for maximum impact and influence. Okay. So,
Hi, participants. I have shared a link with you. You can create a folder in your name and you can upload your video. You can also mention in the video about your name and your program. And you can create a subfolder on this link and upload your storytelling video on this. What exactly, Dr. Debjani, if you may please repeat that, they have
yes.
to create a video on what?
So this is a video is a significant milestone in your life up till now, which has an impact on your life, which has maybe changed you in some way, so you can talk about it. Okay. You can always talk about it, like, I'm more interested in the content. Okay. But if you have more facilities, like you have more skills, like you can put videos or you can put audio into it, you're free to do so.
And what were the 3 principles that you were talking about on which they can create those videos?
So it is very simple. So I'm not really going into very complex narratives. Okay. So Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, beginning, middle, end. Okay. Beginning, may you introduce yourself. In the middle, you talk about the problems that you faced, and in the end, you talk about how you overcame those challenges. Okay. So this is the very, very simple 3-step framework that we talked about, and I just want you to implement it. It's just an exercise for you to kind of get your hands into, kind of get your teeth into, so to speak, so that you actually start doing it before you come on campus. So you have something to actually show me when you're on campus. Because believe me, these kind of sessions are very interactive, and especially when students come with their own, own ideas and own products, it becomes even more interactive and exciting.
Right.
Okay.
So students, you can check while we are having this session, you can check if the link is working. You are able to see the link and you can post it. I have shared the link on our chat box. You will all be having that link access. You can have a look at that link. Also, what I'm going to share is 2 more links about School of Business Instagram and School of Business LinkedIn page. You can follow, you can go to these links, you can check. These will help you to understand a lot more about campus life at School of Business, campus life at UPES. We recently had a business fest, Udyam. You can see the reels around that. It was entirely organized by the students with the guidance of faculty. We have our LinkedIn page also. You can get a lot of information from our LinkedIn page, various activities which are happening at School of Business. I've just shared the link for them as well. Follow us, tag us, and comment on the LinkedIn page and Instagram. We are right now going on a series of posting about the industrial visits of our students on the Instagram and LinkedIn page. So whichever program you are coming from, you will see, information about those programs and the industrial visit which has happened. Dr. Debjani, I think this session has given them at least a good insight into what is storytelling, how storytelling can be, critical in today's world, and also digital storytelling, because the entire world is digital. The businesses are getting digital, the processes are getting digital, and there is a digital mindset which these new leaders have to have to succeed in the dynamic e-VUCA world, as we say. So, this is an optional exercise, participants. It would be great if you want to upload your video. You will have a chance to have one-on-one face-to-face session with Dr. Debjani once you are over here. He can sit with you, scrutinize your video, and also give you inputs on how you can create more effective storytelling, more impactful stories. Because believe you me, stories have been the way around the world from centuries. The wisdom which we have, a lot of them has come from the stories passed over from generations to generations. It's the easiest way to get a thought across from one person to another. So storytelling in every way is very impactful. And in the corporate world also today, storytelling is a critical component, because people will not remember your pitch, your business pitch, your sales pitch, or your presentation. They will remember the kind of impactful story you told them, and they will connect to your thought process, to your concept, to the story which you have told them, rather than a big lengthy presentation. This is
Yes.
my thought process, Dr.
Yes,
Debjani.
absolutely. Yeah. So just to kind of recap, what I talked about, each
Please.
each section that I talked about. So I just to kind of recap. I started with digital storytelling. What is digital storytelling? What are the elements of digital storytelling? How you actually create a digital story? What are the processes of creating a digital story? Then we came to talk about what is story? What is a story? What does storytelling mean? Everyone tells stories, but what are stories? And stories are not just in the movies. Stories are everywhere. Stories are around you. But what differentiates a good story from a bad story? That is narrative. Okay. So narrative is an simple as well as a complex thing. Because it depends, it's very subjective. It depends on who you are as a person, how you look at the world, and that's how you tell a story. So it's also depends on self individualization, how aware and how developed your thought processes. And that way, how that contributes to how effective your narrative is. So once you're here, we can get into that more and more. I try to give you an example. Of course, technology being what it is, was not able to. But in classes like these, in sessions like these, we have plenty of videos and audios, and even students come up with their own projects in which we discuss. That's how these sessions are actually designed and how they are meant to be. We talked about how storytelling actually happens in a business context, how businesses actually use storytelling for the different aspects of the business. So strategic narrative is what is important to actually think about, how you strategize your narrative for maximum effect. Okay, so that again requires a separate session. The different kinds of narratives for different kinds of presentations. Okay, and we ended with a small request for you to kind of do a maximum 3-minute. Even if you do a 60-second video, it is absolutely fine for you to kind of do a short video on a significant milestone in your life, which has actually impacted your life very deeply or changed your life. So it is basically talking about yourself. I just want to see how you talk about yourself, because that's the first step. Before you talk about a product or a service, how well are you able to kind of communicate about yourself, which is the most important thing to you, right? So unless you get that across, unless you kind of get a grasp on how you can actually talk about yourself, you will not be able to talk about your product or service. So this is the first step. Okay, so please do upload your videos. I'm looking forward to watching it. And I'm looking forward to meeting you on campus face to face, actually, and sitting with you and going over videos and having a great session.
Great. We'll take some questions, Dr. Debjani, in case
Yeah.
students have any questions on programs, on storytelling primarily. And in the meanwhile, if the student are not able to open up this folder, they can let me know. And if it is convenient and you can share your email ID, they can send that video directly to you. I mean, entirely up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So question and answer, we are opening up for question and answers. You may please post your question. Premlata, you may have to type your question in Q&A, please, as the voice is not enabled.
Raj is saying that the link is not opening, the one provided for video upload. You don't have to create the folder. I think
the main folder is there. They can create a subfolder, but in case they are not able to open up the link, you may also want to share your email ID so that they can send their video directly to you, Dr. Debjani.
Yes, I think I can. So
yes.
Can I just type in here?
Yes, yes, please go ahead and type in on chat box, please.
Okay.
So by the time you type, there is a question. Prashant Kumar Singh asked, ma'am, what is your thought process? In which direction you think? What's your story? Can you lead us there? Just a glimpse of it.
So my story is, you don't have time for it. There's not enough time. How much time do you have? No, I teach business communication, and it's very clear. Storytelling serves a definite purpose, and I teach how to use storytelling to craft a perfect story for your for your product or your service, for your brand. That's my goal. That's my idea. That's what I teach my students. So I hope that answer satisfy you. There is no grand story, no grand thought process. It's very simple. Does a storyteller play a manipulative role? Well, I mean, I wouldn't say manipulative has a certain pejorative connotation. I wouldn't say such a negative connotation. What do you mean by manipulation is actually someone maybe trying to persuade you or influence you. It's up to you to not take the influence or not getting persuaded, right? We are not here. We don't have any nefarious designs on people. So we are just people trying to offer a certain service or a product. If I'm talking from the vantage of entrepreneurship. But again, if you're presenting a vision statement for your company, that again is storytelling, right? That is not manipulation. You are actually crafting a vision. Manipulation, I understand what you're trying to say, that you're persuading someone to buy a service or a product. Yeah, that is what. But for do you think it has a negative connotation? Ma'am, there are things in here which impacted on our lives, could be related to any trauma or any society issues. This is a very heavy question. When I actually designed this question for you to upload your video, I would not advise you to a 60-second video. If there's any trauma you want to address, maybe a 60-second video is not the right place to do so. On the flip side, if there is something, maybe a death of a loved one, I'm just hypothetically speaking, example, has impacted you, made you look at things in a much more serious way, of course, why not? Okay. You can take that aspect and use it to kind of show how it has impacted you. When will the MBA academic session begin, sir? Amit, I think this is for you.
The MBA, I have just answered the same, Dr. Debjani. The MBA academic session ideally, typically would start around July or August. The confirmed dates will soon be shared. And I request all the participants who are here with us, that stay connected with us, in this bridge program, because we have been doing exciting sessions, learning sessions. So keep on learning with us till the time you are here at the campus. This is one unique initiative which UPS School of Business has taken, so that while you are waiting for to come on the campus, you keep on learning with us. So we have many more exciting sessions. We will be sharing the recording of this session also with you in the next email, which will come to you inviting you for the next session after this. So ideally, around July, August, but the dates are not yet confirmed. They will soon be shared with you. Dr. Debjani, on the same note, if I may share your email ID on the chat box, are you okay with
Yes,
it?
please. Yes, please.
I'm doing that.
Yes.
So for all those students who are not able to open up their this folder link, they can send their videos directly to Dr. Debjani. Do write your name, mention your name and program where you are joining. And I request kindly keep your video short in terms of format and size, so that the email can be delivered and it can be checked at our end. Maybe zip it or send it in a short format. So the next question is.
So I would ideally, yes, this is very important. Keep it very short. So 60 seconds is something 60 seconds, like 1.5 minutes is, I think, enough for you to actually tell me, give me a glimpse of, your story. So please don't go over 2 minutes, not by any, chance. Please don't go, because then it becomes very difficult for the file, to be downloaded or uploaded. So keep it short, and ideally I would like 60 seconds or maybe a bit. But if you cannot make it, don't go beyond 2 minutes. Okay.
Great.
Yes.
Dimple is asking, basically the story has to be on our lives or any kind of incident.
Yes, it's about you. As I said, it's about you. If you cannot talk about yourself properly in a confident way, in an articulate way, then the product or the service or the company that you're going to talk about is not going to be there, right? It's a process. So I would want you to actually think about actually how you are presenting yourself to the outside world, to the external world. And so this is just a takeoff point for you. What is the most important event or incident which has happened, or milestone in your life which has impacted your life? Okay. Great. Up to this point.
Great. Okay. So no more questions. So what we have shared with you till now is a folder link. In case you are not able to open up the folder, student, you can share your short video, brief video, which is not very large in size, with Dr. Debjani. We have shared with you her email ID with your name and with your program, the program you're joining. We have shared with you the LinkedIn link for School of Business. Do open that link, follow us. Know more about what is happening at School of Business, about our programs, what faculty is doing, how students are achieving while studying over here. We have shared with you our Instagram link. Have a look at the campus life at School of Business, what all we are doing, interesting things which are happening at the campus, the events, student society chapters, etc.
Amit, I'll just like to answer Dimple's question.
Yes, please.
Dimple, I'm very happy to hear that you already have ideas. Please, I'm not putting any kind of rules and regulations on it. You're free to do. If you want to put videos and music, audio, you're free to do anything. So like, this is not an assignment that, I have like certain do's and don'ts, nothing of that sort. It's a very free and flexible format. Do whatever you feel like doing. Just keep it very short. And if you have these skills that you're talking about, audio, video, music, please go ahead and put it. I'm just assuming that most of them will not be able to do it, but I know that a lot of people, you are a visually literate generation, so you might as well have all these skills that I'm assuming that you don't have. So if you have them, please go ahead and use it and surprise me. Okay, so I'm looking forward. Dimple, great. I'll be actually looking forward to your submission.
Great. I think we are done with our question and answers. Also, there are no more questions in the Q&A box, Dr. Debjani. Thank you once again for joining us today and taking this great session. Okay, so there's another question which has come up. Thank you. Okay. Can we have some editing and animations in the video? Debrat is asking.
Please, if you can. I mean, I'm assuming because I didn't actually teach you that, so I do not have the right to ask you to do it. But if you have the skills, why not? As I said, surprise me, just show me your skills that you have, and we're going to like have a, great post session, when you come, this will be a great first class, for us to actually, um, get our teeth into and understand the basics of storytelling. Animations, of course, why not?
Great.
But keep it short, as I said again.
Great. So shall we call it an evening? Thank you once again, all the participants, for joining us today, taking out time. You'll soon be receiving another email for the next session, information for the next session from us. Keep watching your accounts, email accounts, and your mobile numbers for the registration for the next session. Okay.
Thank you, Kalol. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalol. Thank you, Prashant. Thank you, everyone, for an interactive session. And thank you, Dr. Debjani.
Thank you, Amitji. Thank you for moderating it so wonderfully and so ably. You held it all together for us. Thank you. Good luck to everybody, so that, get working. And, I'm just looking forward to your submissions.
Look forward to see all of you in the next session. Thank you, Dr. Debjani. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.